Hey folks, my name is Pravus, welcome back to more Hearts of Iron 4 Old World Blues. It's been a little while since we last played around with this mod, but since there is a new DLC coming out with Hearts of Iron in the near future, I kind of want to get back into the game. Now, of course, this is obviously not vanilla, but that's because I love Old World Blues, and even after the last update, Ashes to Embers, we didn't really explore a lot of the new content. So today we're going to be turning that around, and the best way I can think to do that is actually to move up into Canada, because we've done a lot of Old World Blues playthroughs on this channel. But Canada is one region I haven't really explored, and there are quite a few cool options to play with, including the Kingdom of Manitoba. That's going to be this little area right over here, and it's kind of unusual to play as a monarchy of any kind in Old World Blues, which is why this kind of calls to me. It's a new region, it's an unusual government type, and also we're going to be led by an ancient ghoul called Gunn II. Sounds good. So let's begin. As usual, I'm going into this pretty blind. I don't really know what the story is going to be or what the optimal paths are going to be, and yet somehow I expect to create a new Canadian empire. So, starting off, it looks like we have a halfway decent number of soldiers, or at least some divisions, including some Canadian Mounties, which is just appropriate, levies, men-at-arms, light cavalry. Oh god, we're going back to the medieval era. We got 4 research slots right off the bat, though. That seems okay. What kind of tech levels do we have? Mostly just pretty normal intermediate tech across the board. With the exception of special forces, we're very sophisticated there, which is making me think that mountaineers are going to be very important for us. No power armor, though. That's usually a deal breaker for me, but we're going to find a way to make it work. Well, we'll go ahead and start getting some basic economic techs. I want the improvised tools, I want the industrial planning, I'm going to need to get some more research speed, all the stuff. And starting off with our national focus tree, the founding of the kingdom. This is typically how things work in Old World Blues if you are relatively new. The early focuses are usually very fast, and they're mostly existing just to kind of give you a bit of a backstory so you have some idea what you are doing and why. So King Gunn II, the ancient one with extra political power gain. Not a bad thing to have pretty early on. He has ruled the kingdom since the disaster of the First Coalition War. He was there when Canada fell to American aggression. He was there when the CPF collapsed in Manitoba and saw the rise of the kingdom by the warlord of Winnipeg. Now he rules the kingdom, taking the name of the first king in an attempt to maintain its face. Yet heavy is the head that wears the crown. He was an old man before the Great War, and is older still, plagued by a dark degradation known only as to his beloved wife Catherine and his right-hand man Tanner. Gunn must act quickly before he succumbs. So, is our king going to die? Seems like this might be about to happen. We are currently under an economic blockade. That's a problem. The defeat at Stonewall and the death of King Brandon VI shattered the people's faith in the monarchy. So we probably are going to have an option to divert from a monarchy or try to reinforce it. And I'll try to reinforce it if I can. Ancestor cults, factory output, consumer goods, not a big fan. And then Queen Catherine is apparently very, very popular and kind-hearted. Good. What kind of leaders do we have for our army? Okay, so that's William Tanner, so he's going to be an important figure for us, apparently. I'm unable to have any field marshals, though. That's interesting. Well, let's go ahead and start building out a few civilian workshops to start. Hopefully this is not the wrong call. It's always hard to tell. Anti-tank rifles as a priority? I don't know about that one. Looks like our men-at-arms actually do start with the anti-tank, which is why that's there. Okay, yeah, I mean, unless I want to remove this from everything, I guess this is fine. Dogs on the Mounties doesn't seem great, though. Yeah, I'm not sure I like almost any of this production. Well, we'll live with it for a moment. Things might be about to change. The Dark Ages! Long before the time of kings and republics, and in the radioactive winter of the Great War, when the crater still burned with atomic fire, there were the people of Manitoba. These people, broken by the American invasion and reeling from the very death of the world, had lost everything. And when one loses all they have, they seek to take what others possess. What power the Red Fighters of the Canadian People's Front had once held in the province was quickly taken by the now desperate and deadly locals, forcing them westward. It was then that the Dark Ages began. Manitoba descended into decades of violence. Where there had once been neighbors, now stood rival gangs, fighting each other in an eternal struggle for survival. Those who lacked the will or proved too weak found themselves the victims of stronger warlords and warbands. For 50 years, the land stood divided until one day, one warlord would stake his claim. The man known only as Gunn, who had claimed the city of Winnipeg from what remained of the Red Menace, would do what no communist or raider had done since the Great War. From his seat of power, Gunn would expand his domain, not through violence, but rather diplomacy. The first to submit were the Masters of Brandon, whose submission granted them the honor of dukedom, and with it, the warlord of Brandon would become heir to the King of Manitoba. Many would submit and in turn earn the privilege of nobility in the new kingdom as duchies, each one offering something to strengthen the new realm. Of these gifts, the king showed the most favor to, the industrial might of Brandon, get a bunch of workshops, the military prowess of Langenberg, land doctrine, or the commercial innovation of Winnipeg, air equipment technology. Air equipment. I mean, I bet you that is important, but it's hard to say no to just having a bunch of civilian workshops right off the bat. That's usually quite good. Let's move to the end of a golden age. And so the Age of the Kingdom began. King Gunn expanded the kingdom for many years before vanishing into the frozen wastes, leaving the kingdom to his heir. Many decades would pass with different kings from the Brandon line claiming the throne, some mighty and honorable, such as Brandon IV, and some weak-willed and shameful, such as the mad Brandon V. It would be during this age that the kingdom reached its greatest height, stretching from the Duchy of Langenberg to the Royal Crown Lands and to the Duchy of Angers. The kingdom was strong, proud, and a force to be respected. All was good in the lands of Manitoba. Yet it was not to be. As the Age of the Kingdom ended, the Age of Decline would begin. The kings grew weak and complacent, the nobility scheming and self-serving, and many a peasant revolt occurred. Cruel kings, such as King Brandon VI, had short reigns marred by blood and strife. Despite all the signs, the kingdom was blind to the crisis that was bubbling underneath its very feet, too busy discussing the latest trends or the planning of the next royal feast. That was until the bubble burst. The war of the First Republican Coalition marked the end of the Age of Decline and ushered in the current age. The rebellious Three Rivers Republic and Métis Congress marched against the kingdom, intent on destroying all that it held dear. In their greatest moment of arrogance, the last king of Gunn's line, Brandon VIII, marched against Republican forces during the Battle of Stonewall and was slaughtered. If not for the actions of Count Yorkton of Langenberg in destroying the Métis army, many believe the kingdom would have fallen. As a hasty peace was signed, hundreds fled from the Republican horde, bringing with them their wealth for money, their weapons for guns, or the desire for revenge, a bonus attack against the Republic of the Three Rivers in the future. What's our logistics currently looking like? We have enough guns to go around. Not much, but we have it. I don't know how much the wealth really is important for us, though. Out of curiosity, is there anything we could do, like, let's say... I mean, we could go for things like investing in small business. So if you think of it this way, we could take their wealth, and then I could just turn this into 20% construction speed for 270 days. Would that be worth it to us? Maybe. We could also... I don't have any organizations I need to worry about. Nothing we could do down here. Yeah, not a lot that I could really benefit from here, I suppose. Eventually, this money could be turned into saving a lot of political power by passing different laws, though. Which isn't bad. Yeah, I don't know. 400 guns, probably not good enough. 5% attack is nice, but I think I'm going to take the wealth, because that's pretty darn good. And I'll just go ahead and use this for immediate investment in small business, so we can start a small snowball. It's not very good, but it's something. Of traitors and revolution. With the death of King Brandon IX, leaving himself no heir, the lineage of Brandon had been decimated. The kingdom maintained its authority through a quickly assembled regency council. But a monarchy without a king left them with no legitimacy. Desperate for somebody to take up the reins, they searched for a chosen successor who could lead them away from the humiliation they had suffered. And thus, Gunn II was selected to lead the broken empire. Quiet and methodical, yet highly radical in his beliefs, he was a stark contrast from the brash and bold lineage of the Brandons, one which much of the elite of Manitoba looked down upon, including the line of Langenberg, Leif Yorkton. Rumors spread of Gunn's inability to lead, that the council chose him simply to use as a puppet of the elite. Externally, Manitoba's previous enemies watch, smelling blood in the water. And yet the greatest threat is Gunn himself. His mind decays daily, time continuing to chip at his sanity. Despite all of this, he continues to push forward, preparing himself for the troublesome times that lay ahead. Already he has begun to make drastic changes to the kingdom, one of the most important being The economy, infrastructure, development, okay. The army for more arms workshops, or science. 25% research bonuses for industry and electronics technology. It's not bad. I mean, the faster stuff is pretty good, but I'm kind of leaning toward the arms workshops. I don't know if that's the right call, but I feel like having more equipment can only ever be really good for me. Research bonus, I mean, I don't know. How long does it really take for us to research this stuff right now? 141 days? So this will save us like 3 weeks-ish. It's not bad, but I think I'm going to go for the arms workshops. All right, let's move on to the last of the introductory focuses on borrowed time. King Gunn II could feel his age. Not physically, the old ghoul had gotten used to the pain that came with his condition for centuries now, but in his failing mind. In the past, he had dreaded his dreams, haunted by the specter of Manitoba's past mistakes and failed conquests. Now he wishes nothing more but to have them back. Everything, even the constant torment of his ever-working consciousness, was preferable to the blackness that now accompanied his nights. It was as if he threatened to drown in an ocean of pitch-black tar every time he closed his eyes. The first time it happened, even before he was known as Gunn II, he had just tried to scream, shaking his despondent body, trying to get himself to wake up, but nothing seemed to work. He just kept existing and not existing as darkness seemed to throw through him. He awoke one morning, alone in an expansively decorated room in the palace, to find his bedroom torn to pieces, expensive-looking fabric tossed carelessly onto the ground. He had heard stories of normal ghouls turning into feral, mindless monsters, roaming the irradiated plains in the single-minded pursuit of living tissue, as if it could ever bring them back from the terrible fate they had suffered. He had never considered the possibility that they all could have once been like him. From that night on, King Gunn II forbade everyone, including his wife, Queen Catherine, from entering his personal chambers. His sentries were under strict orders to keep the heavy oak door locked, no matter what they might hear. Only a single member of his royal advisors knew of his condition, that being none other than William Tanner. Should it come down to it, King Gunn II commanded Tanner to prevent harm from coming to those around him, even at the cost of the old ghoul's life. However, these precautions did little to ease the growing fear and dread in the king's heart that one day he would never awaken from darkness. Memento mori, gain the extra war support. Okay, so now we're gonna have some choices to make. What do we want to do? Jewel of the Crown, gain industry, and it looks like this is gonna get me a lot of extra fortifications. Consumer goods, agricultural research speed, blah, 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 okay. There's also the upstart, the King's Guard Dog. Pathfinders get better, which I think is just going to make things better when I end up having lots of special forces. Lord of Dogs, more breakthrough and soft attack. Okay, now that actually might make dogs a pretty good addition to my military forces. That's unusual, but okay. Ooh, they have heart attack and stuff too? Yeah. But it looks like this also gets me a lot of maple syrup production. There we go. That's critical to our economy. Absolutely critical we get that as fast as possible. Yeah, no, this also gets me some military bonuses, some workshops, and then eventually more civilian stuff. So lots of economy and military focus is kind of focused in here to start. Then over this direction, some of our duchies get a few extra factories. A new captain of the guard. Manpower, arms factories, more equipment, better special forces. The royal banners, that's going to be important for us. And then we cannot go down here with the victory of royal forces. We have to deal with an internal struggle first. Yeah, and we can't even go down this new Duchess of Langenberg option here. Okay, and then there's friends in the electorate, loyalist volunteers, and a way of getting a man who is more likely to be willing to collaborate with the kingdom or funding Arborg, and the junta may stay loyal. So I'm assuming that if we die, there is a good chance that some of my provinces will want to break free. Establishing people who are willing to work with me might be a good idea. So the question is, how quickly do we need to pick those up? Well, we're going to be finishing a couple of industrial focuses in 43 days. So picking this up here would time out nicely to get me some extra bonuses. I guess I'll start with Jewel of the Crown. My problem is I just don't know when I die. When is that going to happen? Is it going to happen in the next couple of months, and I'm going to have to take these two focuses first? Or is it going to happen in like a year, in which case I've got time? I don't know. So do I have like subjects or something? Because it certainly feels like that's the case. No, I do not. The Duchy of Langenberg is in an alliance, a faction. We are a faction leader, but it is not technically ruled by me. And it really is just Langenberg and Manitoba then. That's it. Okay. But the Arborg Junta over here is possibly going to join us, and the Stoon Dandies up over here might potentially join us in the future. But they're a part of a different faction themselves, the Bloody Electorals. So we would get them to betray their allies, maybe? And then we attack from both ends, and this is a way of expanding my empire? Maybe. It looks like we do have a demilitarized zone over here against the Republic, too. So it's going to be a little bit difficult to set up some good defenses against both the Congress and the Republic. I'm just kind of guessing those are going to be my most immediate threats. What kind of laws do we have? Anything that'd be useful? Decadent aristocracy, re-industrializing economy, Manitoban militias, and Mounties at the ready. Seems pretty useful. We have some unique laws, it looks like, for boosting up our conscription law, calling up the reserves, and true mobilization here. The Canadian Postal Service apparently could be pretty good for us. Operatives, resource gain, construction speed is pretty useful. Energy cells, no. And then factory repair speed. I mean, the efficiency retention of 20% is actually pretty good. Can't really say no to that. Could also get a lot of research speed if we're willing to give up some political power. That's not too bad here. Pretty decent amount of recruitable population. Extremely useful in Old World Blues. 10% monthly population, probably a little bit less so. Army experience gain. Give up on the air and the navy, just get lots of army XP. Alright, we finished the Jewel of the Crown, so that's going to help at least a little bit. Outposts in every province of Brandon? Maybe. Expand the King's Road, and then Queen Catherine's Greenhouse. I don't know if I want the extra consumer goods right now, but it would make agriculture a lot faster to start getting some population. What would the King's Dog do for us? I'm going to go ahead and just take things like friends in the electorate and stuff. Let's just go ahead and do that now. Since I don't know when I'm going to need it, might be too early, might be better to snowball otherwise, but I kind of split the difference a little bit. I'm hedging my bets. The Second Coalition. Okay, the Republic of the Three Rivers wishes to finally end the long-standing conflict. To end this, they have called upon the peoples of Manitoba together to form a coalition to take down the king, having dubbed it the Second Coalition in the spirit of the original war, the first. Who shall prevail this time? Okay, so they are literally trying to get me into having some sort of an internal strife. That is what they're shooting for right now. Our truce ends in a couple of years. So that's probably how long I've got. January 1st of 2277 is probably exactly how much I have to actually survive this. We got our friends in the electorate, so that's done. Let's go for funding Arborg. And I could change up a few laws, but I'm going to wait a little bit. Let's stockpile some, and then I'll try using these political bribes to get a pretty big cost reduction. And then we can change our conscription and our economy laws at the same time. And that should save me quite a lot. Then again, this does last for 180 days. I make how much? 1.49 today? I can do this now, actually. Let's go ahead and do this now, because the faster I do it, the more benefit I can get. Okay, we've now funded these guys, so hopefully Viscount O'Brien will be happier with us. And Pierre Solomon will be our friendo. So with that taken care of, what comes next? Focus on the economy? Or do we go ahead and get things like the King's Dog and stuff like that? Consumer goods now actually wouldn't be a bad thing to have either. It'd be pretty good, actually. Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and start with the ancient dynasties. As always, I don't really know what's best here, right? If I were a little bit more enterprising and a bit more dedicated to my craft on YouTube, I'd spend hours probably just testing a whole bunch of things and trying to create optimal build orders. And I'll do that sometime. Oh, Quillate Teen's playing Mech Warrior 5. I need to play that now that Clans is out. Anyway, sorry. No, I do that sometimes for my Hearts of Iron 4 vanilla guides, right? You know, for example, I spent hours trying to come up with a good build order for my Finland campaign, which worked out brilliantly well. But it is a lot of time. And I got a baby, man. I got a second baby on the way. Freaking heck, I don't have time for this. The secret sauce! Oh my gosh, the secret sauce must flow! I don't know what Swiss sauce is supposed to be honest. I have no idea what it's supposed to be. Nuclear blast over the Strath Commune! You stupid communists! You blew up a nuke! Have you learned nothing? Well, she killed a whole bunch of her own people. Who is this, by the way? Amy Teresi? This is supposed to be one of the other good nations to play in the last update that came out. Probably would be fun to try sometime, even though it goes everything I believe in to play as a filthy communist. But it's fine. Let's go ahead and pick up some combat language and other things we can pick up. I mean, I know that I like things like the riot control gear so we can get enforcers, but we're not going to be conquering territory for a bit. Interesting that my melee weapons, by the way, are actually just straight out swords. I think that's kind of neat. Let's instead focus on getting our doctrines. What kind of a doctrine do we think we are going to want, though? What would work well with special forces? I definitely don't want outsider warfare. This is good if you're going to be playing as mutants. We're not. Kind of leaning toward maybe the asymmetrical warfare and ancient tactics. There's a few pretty decent bonuses we could get here for our special forces and get more of them. I'm definitely not going to go down robots or refined warfare. I just don't think that's likely. Conventional could be okay, especially if I decided that I wanted to focus a lot on vehicles and have kind of a cavalry focus. But from a roleplay perspective, if nothing else, I feel like going down ancient tactics actually just makes sense. So we're going to go down asymmetric warfare today. I don't know if it's the right call. It's not one I usually play, but let's give it a go. I'm next going to focus on getting the vault grade factories for a huge research bonus toward construction. That'll just help me scale up faster. It's all about snowballing, man. All about snowballing. I mean, not necessarily, but I've played enough Civ to think that that's just kind of like how I always have to play these games. Sometimes that's not true, though. Depending on the situation of a nation, sometimes it is always better to focus on heavy military and you will just survive whatever's coming your way, or you'll have opportunities to expand through conquest, and that's a more effective way of getting a lot of free factories. In my case, though, I think I've got about a year and a half before war is really a major threat, so I feel like focusing on my own civilian economy is still the better way to go. And now that we have the vault grade factories, let's go for the upstarts. I need to find out what's going to happen with Tanner. They've really changed a few things in this mod, by the way. Like, look at the little graphic here of just like this thing moving, these little lighting up dots. That's new. That didn't used to be a thing. I mean, it's not like necessary, but having a little bit of kind of like some GIFs and stuff moving around, it looks pretty nice. For example, I really like that this focus has little fireworks going off here, the greatest day of the kingdom, right? I don't know. That's kind of nice. I think they're adding some good touches to this mod. I've always loved this mod, and this is no exception. What is this, by the way? The Day of Infamy. The day that the Americans betrayed us and invaded Canada 200 years ago. Sometimes I feel like we ought to just go ahead and invade Canada. They crave to be Americans, right? They don't. They actually do not. I know this for a fact. But I feel like avenging the War of 1812 wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for America, right? Nah, it'd be pretty atrocious. It'd be pretty atrocious. Am I willing to actually change up my conscription law now? Right now, we're getting the extra political power, we're getting construction speed, research speed. The second I do things like this, we lose a fair bit of that in exchange for 1.5% extra recruitable population. Is that really worth it right now? It's probably not, actually. Probably not. Maybe instead I'd rather just go ahead and invest in my forward thinker. Losing some political power gain sucks, but 8% extra research speed kind of early on is not a bad thing to have. Again, snowballing. I like to snowball in a lot of different things. We got the upstarts. All right, so William Tanner is living proof that meritocratic principles are alive and well under the protective umbrella of the monarchy. Although he was first brought into service of the crown for his exceptional skill in handling animals, he quickly rose from the humble rank of Beastmaster and Duck Mountaineer to... Duck Mountaineer? Duck Mountaineer? What a title! To head of the Mounties and trusted advisor in all matters regarding the royal menagerie. However, Tanner's true heroism does not stem from his raw skill. Rather, it comes from his dedication to protecting the common Manitoban citizenry. The valiant deeds committed by Tanner during the First War of the Republican Coalition saved countless lives, and, according to many, even the kingdom as a whole. Were it not for him and his Mounties choosing to garrison the frontier territories deemed unimportant by the Manitoban nobility, the surprise naval landing from the Republic of the Three Rivers in the Riding Mountain would not have been detected and thwarted. Tanner's fierce aura of authority inspired his outmatched forces to gather their strength and defend the farms and infrastructure of local settlements from the Republican army, attempting to supply their soldiers planning to cut off royal forces in Porto Pueri and attack the capital of Brandon from behind. After the kingdom's defeat and the perceived failure of the knightly orders to protect them, the Manitoban nobility chose to disband them, which King Gunn II approved of, later replacing them with the Mounties. Since then, the Mounties have dutifully guarded all under the Kingdom of Manitoba, earning them the unofficial name of the People's Mounties. So now we can appoint him to High Command. So he actually automatically just got hired. That's 15% breakthrough and soft attack on dogs, plus Special Forces attack and defense. Okay. I find it a little funny that it says down here, I do my duty, and this has to do with dogs. Do you know why? Because when I was growing up, we raised our dogs, right, with a command. When we wanted them to go outside and go to the bathroom and poop, we would say, do your duty. So, you know, when it's dogs and it says I do my duty, that just makes me laugh. All right, but for real, what do we need next here? Probably continue to focus on some stuff here. Queen Catherine's greenhouses will be good, but I don't want to get ahead of time accidentally at the wrong time. Because we'll get to do the next agricultural upgrade in 0.43 years anyway. So if I get the ahead of time bonus now, I'm kind of wasting half of it. I think I'd rather hold off on that. Let's go ahead and build up some infrastructure. And the Stoon Dandies just declared war on their neighbors. Would you like some help? No, like unironically, I'd love to help you. Seems like you're probably about to die. Actually, it looks like maybe everyone's attacking everyone here. Yeah, it's a 3-person free-for-all right now. Huh. I cannot send you any volunteers. You are too far away. Well, I guess that's not going to pay off in some way, unless I'm supposed to release them as a vassal state at some point and they're led by someone who actually works with me. That could be. I think I want to get myself a military commander, preferably the guy with the army experience gain for now. The faster we pick that up, the better. Because I have none at the moment, and it would be quite nice for me if I were to have some upgraded divisions before the war breaks out. King's Road expanded. We could go for Postmaster Pat as an economic advisor. We know that's a good one. The absent Duchess. This could be a problem, though. In the past few months, it seems that Duchess Sophie has fallen behind on several administrative duties in the Duchy of Lengenberg. I don't know if it's pronounced that way, by the way. That's just how I'm choosing to say it because it sounds good. Most notable of which being the management of forces guarding our borders. A disproportionate amount of patrols have been assigned to Lengenberg and Yorkton, remaining mostly idle and claiming to be responding to increased Métis hostility, while frontier levies struggle to defend their settlements. Misplaced equipment and supply shipments have also become increasingly common, placing a further strain on our overall security. Attempts to contact Duchess Sophie, or even discern her whereabouts, have been met with lukewarm responses from nobles, with conflicting responses being given each time. There have been some speculation that these recent missteps are related to her increasing age and subsequent health issues. Something about this feels off. Activate mission, Manitoba waits. Hold on, what does that mean? We have 90 days before something is about to... Frick me, what? The Duchy of Lengenberg is going to declare war on us? Excusez-moi, why? The Duchess is most likely dead, and the Count of Yorkton is attempting to obscure increasingly obvious facts and then build up to attack us, because the Count of Yorkton doesn't like us. Well, this changes things just a little bit now, don't it? Quickly, redeploy our forces. Something about this feels off. We're about to get bamboozled. Though I feel like all we really should need to do is capture Lengenberg and Yorkton itself over here. I wonder if the AI is going to be smart enough to create any build-up here. They may not. Well, oh, wait, they're out of my faction. Oh, yep, it shows Yorkton actually as the leader here now. Okay, I was gonna say, maybe they won't build up any troops here, and then if the game just kind of does this, the AI didn't realize it was about to go to war, because it's not always smart like that, and we can just rush into Lengenberg and go, but no. No, the developers thought of that one. Bad news bears. Bad news bears. I'll go ahead and train up a couple more divisions. It's not much, because I don't have, like, any meaningful amount of manpower to go around, but there you go. So now I'm starting to think that having military focuses is a good idea. And we're this close to getting ourselves a research slot. Oh well, yeah, I'm thinking maybe we should go ahead and appoint a new captain of the guard, a really good commanding officer. Seems like a good time to do this. I don't know how strong these guys are going to be, is one problem. They might be pretty darn tough. My military... Actually, hang on. Spy. Move. I didn't expect this to be necessary, but go to Yorkton. Let's find out what they've got. According to my intel, they probably have anywhere from 6 to 21 divisions. I'll bet you they got something kind of like 13, 14. Which means we might have a numbers advantage. Question is their quality any good? And I do not know the answer to that one. Kind of feel like maybe I should move my Mounties and stuff toward a different front line over here. Because what I probably will want to do... Let's actually go ahead and split this a couple of times. What I probably want to do is have a front line here with my mostly offensive units to push across here and split them off. Maybe make a push to Yorkton and Lengenberg immediately. And then have over here a line that is mostly held by levies and other defensive soldiers. We'll try this and see if it works. Move the Mounties up to the front. Problem is, where can we attack them? There's a river in the way. So... there's a crossing right here. And a crossing right here. That's kind of it. So we could take some pretty darn heavy losses if I'm not very careful in how we attack this. But on the plus side, we should be able to hit this one territory here from 4 locations at once. It's a lot of flanking. If we can punch through here quickly, we might be able to make something work. Okay, we've got a new captain of the guard. Special forces capacity won't do me a lot of good. More manpower would be nice. It'll probably be too late, to be honest. A culture of might for 5% attack is pretty okay. Could also just get more guns, which I could be wrong, but isn't that a better... Yeah, basic weaponry is technically a better form of weapon than we have right now. So that's not a bad thing to have, I suppose. Alternatively, we don't have enough time to get 2 more frontiersman divisions, but picking those up as we are actively fighting, this would be pretty useful. I guess I'll go down this route and try to get the 2 free units. That can make a difference. More military high commands, organization entrenchment speed and defense, not bad. And then there's, of course, the theorists, land doctrine, more army XP. We could get a lot of army XP. I feel like going for the 15% boost in our asymmetrical warfare is still a pretty good thing to do now. Yeah. Doesn't necessarily speed things up quite as much as I would like, but it's something. The war on 4 fronts. Oh, God. In a sudden escalation of tension, Strath Commune, high on war fervor following the nuclear detonation of their territory several months ago, has thrust the Canadian Plains into another large conflict. The army of Amy Teresi's army outrage seemed to have boiled over into full-blown revolutionary zeal. So, let's just hope that she basically got herself killed. I don't know. Sounds like they are fighting a bunch of wars on their own side here. Yep, they are fighting all of their neighbors. Well, maybe the communists will just take care of themselves. We've got enough intel to get a good idea what kind of enemies we're looking at here. I think we can defend this. They're not going to want to do a straight crossing. Right here, we have enough forces, we should be able to punch through this, and then if I use my cavalry, we might be able to do some pretty quick cutoffs and really mess these guys up. Maybe. Up over here, not too many units to worry about. So I don't feel like I need to have too many defenders here. We'll get our Royal Pathfinders, I'll start securing the frontier. It's not going to be enough. Or rather, it's not going to be in time, but we're only going to be off by about 2 weeks. So pretty quickly, the war should be decided, and then we'll have some extra pushing power. Anything else I would want to throw into my units now while we could, like the levies and stuff? I mean, we don't have anything that's going to help us entrench, which is one problem I've got. But my Mounties are going to be pretty decent, I think. I say that. 32 soft attack. It's better than the levies, or the men-at-arms, for sure. Oh, and let's not forget to put our senior commander in charge over here, Tobias. We have our field marshal. And the war has just begun. We had 4 days left! Aye! Jaded! Whatever, it's fine. Throw everything we've got over here, see if we can take these guys down. Not looking as good as I kind of was hoping it to be honest. That's disappointing. We got our first round of asymmetric warfare, though, and that's going to lead into foraging, HP, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's not bad. Recruitable population factor is pretty nice. But no, they've thrown everything they've got over here. Tell you what, can we just cross? No, I can't cross the river. This is too thick of a river right here. Okay, so hold on. This did not work the way I thought it was going to. Now they're attacking me over here. Maybe I should have gone for some naval landings instead, or something like that. What if I tried attacking, like, right here? Would this be a weak spot? Maybe. Not very, though. Insult to injury, the confusion following the rebellion. It seems the forces of the Republic of the Three Rivers have violated the treaty, and we are in no position to retaliate as they've occupied a demilitarized area. Well, I can't declare war on them. They're correct. They just stole this land from me. Okay, so this is coordinated. I'm gonna let some of these units retreat over here, get off of this point, which is what they're doing right now. Then we're gonna have to try attacking here again, but I might need to pin some of their units and hopefully prevent them from getting across. I mean, I've got a lot of units being thrown here. The war entirely comes down to whether I can win this or not. Having the extra units would certainly be helpful right about now, I can tell you that. And here we go, a couple of frontiersmen. Good, add them to the front. Let's go for the culture of might for the division attack, and eventually leading into some extra manpower. It's fine, keep here we go, starting to break through, a little bit more. Concentrate firepower, fools! Ah, they stacked more stuff here. They're being smart, they're not reinforcing from the sides over in these directions. Whoa, hold on, what's happening over here? Yeah, now we're getting hit in a few different directions. They've definitely trained up some additional units. So now they're outnumbering me a little bit. Okay. Well, we have to end this video because I'm out of time, but this war is already going pretty badly. Trying to think what else we could do here aside from literally pull back, let them cross the river, smash them, and then cross. Which is always a very risky tactic, but it does sometimes work and confuse the AI. So that might be something we want to do. We'll consider that. Thank you all for watching. Hope you're looking forward to this series of Old World Blues. If so, I would ask you to hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, make sure you hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.